Stop everything you are doing right now, because what just dropped in the last few hours is the kind of news that only comes around once in a generation. Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host. FIFA and the United States just made an announcement that is going to change the way the entire world watches soccer, and honestly, the way the world watches live entertainment. This is not a drill. This is not a rumor. This is confirmed, official, and it is absolutely massive. We are talking about the biggest halftime show in the history of the FIFA World Cup, and the names attached to it are going to blow your mind. Stay right here, because in the next few minutes, I am going to break down every single detail, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now and smash that like button. Because this channel is where you get the biggest sports and entertainment news first, delivered fast, delivered fresh, every single day. Now let's get into it. For the very first time in FIFA World Cup history, the final, the biggest match in all of football, is going to feature a halftime show. You heard that right. A full, live, concert-style halftime show, right in the middle of the World Cup final. FIFA literally took a page straight out of the NFL's Super Bowl playbook, and they went all in. And when I say all in, I mean they did not just pick one artist. They did not just pick two. They went out and locked in three of the most legendary, most globally recognized musical acts on the entire planet. The 2026 World Cup Final halftime show will be headlined by Shakira, Madonna, and BTS. And this incredible spectacle has been curated by none other than Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. Shakira, Madonna, BTS, Chris Martin, all connected to one stage, one night, one moment. Let that sink in for a second. Now, before we go any deeper, let me set the scene for you. The World Cup final is set for July 19th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, and it is expected to draw millions and millions of viewers worldwide, on top of the tens of thousands of fans who will be packed inside that stadium. World Cup 2026 kicks off on June 11th in Mexico City, with matches being played across multiple locations in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This is already the most expanded World Cup in history, the first World Cup with 3 host nations, the first with 48 teams, 104 total games, and now you add this halftime show on top of everything, and you start to realize that this is not just a soccer tournament. This is a full-scale cultural event the likes of which the world has never seen before. Let's talk about how this announcement actually happened, because the reveal itself was a whole moment. FIFA made the announcement through an Instagram post on Thursday, and they did it in the most creative way possible. The announcement video posted to social media featured Chris Martin joined by characters from Sesame Street and the Muppets, with a cameo from BTS themselves. Think about that visual. Coldplay's Chris Martin standing alongside Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, with BTS making an appearance, all teasing one of the biggest halftime shows ever conceived. The internet absolutely lost its mind. And honestly, rightfully so. Now let's talk about the man behind the curtain, Chris Martin. This is a detail that a lot of people are glossing over, and they should not be, because it is actually one of the most fascinating parts of this whole story. It was Chris Martin who personally picked the headliners for this World Cup first, and he was the main protagonist in the video announcement revealing the performers. So this was not just some corporate committee sitting in a boardroom throwing names at a whiteboard. This was a world-class artist, the lead singer of one of the biggest bands on the planet, personally selecting and curating the lineup. That tells you something about the level of thought and artistry that is going into this production. Chris Martin has a very specific vision for what this show is going to look like, and the fact that he chose Shakira, Madonna, and BTS tells us everything we need to know about what he is trying to create. A show that is global, that is emotional, that transcends every single border and language barrier. Now let's break down each headliner individually, because every single one of these choices is layered with meaning and history. Start with Shakira. Few artists have a stronger connection with the FIFA World Cup than Shakira. The Colombian superstar already became part of football history with iconic World Cup anthems such as Waka Waka during South Africa. 2010 Waka Waka is not just a song, it is a cultural artifact. It is one of those tracks that, when it plays, instantly transports you back to that summer, to those matches, to that electricity. And now she is back, not just performing at the final, but headlining it. And it gets even better. She recently released the official song for the 2026 World Cup, Die Die, alongside Burna Boy, further strengthening her relationship with FIFA. So Shakira is literally bookending this entire tournament. She has the official song and she has the halftime show. This is her World Cup. Full stop. Then you have Madonna. There is almost nothing left to say about Madonna that has not already been said 1,000 times over, but let's say it again anyway. FIFA President Gianni Infantino described Madonna, Shakira, and BTS as global icons whose music transcends borders and generations. When it comes to Madonna specifically, that is not just a press release line. That is a factual statement with 4 decades of receipts to back it up. Madonna has been selling out arenas, breaking records, and reinventing herself since before half the people watching this video were even born. She is 67 years old, and she is still one of the most talked-about performers alive. Putting her on the World Cup final stage, in front of a global audience of hundreds of millions, is a statement. It is FIFA saying, "We are not playing small. We are going as big as it is humanly possible to go." And then there is BTS. Now, if you do not fully understand the power of BTS yet, let me try to explain it to you quickly. BTS is not just a K-pop group. They are a global phenomenon in the truest sense of the word. Their fan base, known as the ARMY, is one of the most passionate and organized fan communities in the history of music. They broke records on YouTube, on Billboard, on Spotify. They spoke at the United Nations. They sold out stadiums across every continent. And now they are going to perform at the World Cup final halftime show in front of what could be the largest live television audience in the history of sports. Think about what that means for the reach of this event. Every BTS ARMY member around the world, and there are tens of millions of them, is now going to be tuned in to the World Cup final. FIFA did not just book a band, they activated an entire global community. Now let's talk about the logistics and the cause behind this show, because this is where it gets really interesting from a big picture perspective. The halftime show will also feature the Muppets from Sesame Street, who for generations have brought joyful learning to children around the world, as well as Kermit, Miss Piggy, and some of the gang from the Muppets, part of the Walt Disney Company. So you have got this incredible blend of music superstars and beloved cultural icons all sharing the same stage. This is clearly designed to be a moment for every single generation, from the youngest kids watching with their parents, all the way to the adults who grew up with Madonna's music in the 80s and 90s. Every demographic is accounted for. Every generation has something to connect with, and it is all connected to something bigger than entertainment. The halftime show supports the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, a landmark initiative working to raise $100 million to expand access to quality education and football for children around the world. This is being produced by Global Citizen, the nonprofit organization that has already, over the last 13 years, helped deploy more than $50 billion in commitments, impacting over 1.3 billion lives worldwide. So every dollar that is generated, every action that fans take, every ticket that is sold to a World Cup match, FIFA confirmed that $1 from every ticket sold to FIFA World Cup 2026 matches will be donated to the fund. This halftime show is not just a concert, it is a fundraising platform. It is a statement of purpose. FIFA is using the biggest stage in sports to try to do some genuine good in the world, and they have assembled a cast of artists who all have the global credibility and the personal commitment to make that message land. Listen to what FIFA President Gianni Infantino said in his statement. He said that as the world comes together for the biggest match in football on July 19th in New York, New Jersey, this historic show will also shine a light on a greater purpose by supporting the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund and their shared mission to expand access to quality education and football opportunities for children worldwide, calling it a celebration of football, unity, and shared humanity that will resonate far beyond the final whistle, that is a statement with real weight behind it. And the lineup they assembled to carry that message, Shakira, Madonna, BTS, the Muppets, is perfectly chosen to make it resonate across every culture, every language, every corner of the globe. Now let's talk about the practical side of things. How long is this show actually going to be, and where exactly is it going to take place? It is unknown exactly how long the 2026 World Cup final halftime show will last, but there is fresh precedent that should serve as an indicator. FIFA also had a halftime show during the 2025 Club World Cup final between Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain last summer. That show, headlined by Colombian artist J Balvin, lasted a little over 11 minutes, which is similar to the typical runtime of Super Bowl halftime shows. The halftime break during the 2025 Club World Cup final lasted around 25 minutes, so we are likely looking at somewhere in that 11 to 15-minute performance window, with the full halftime interval stretching to maybe 25 to 30 minutes. That is almost double the standard 15-minute halftime break in soccer. Further details regarding the halftime show have yet to be announced, such as whether it will be performed on the field, as is the case with the Super Bowl, or up in the stands, as FIFA did last summer during the Club World Cup final, also at MetLife Stadium. That is one of the biggest unanswered questions right now, and it is going to shape the visual scale of the entire production. If they go on the field, and I personally think they will, this is going to be one of the most visually spectacular live events ever broadcast on television. And speaking of the venue, the World Cup final is scheduled for July 19th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with a 3 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. MetLife Stadium is one of the most iconic sports venues in America. It is the home of the New York Giants and the New York Jets, and it has hosted Super Bowls and some of the biggest concerts in recent history. But nothing, absolutely nothing, that has ever happened inside MetLife Stadium will match the scale of what is coming on July 19th. A 48-team World Cup final, with Shakira, Madonna, and BTS performing at halftime, broadcast live to potentially 2 billion people around the world. That is not hyperbole. That is just the math. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what FIFA is doing with this entire tournament, because the halftime show is just one piece of a much larger strategy. The opening ceremony at SoFi Stadium will feature performances from Katy Perry and Future, while celebrations in Canada and Mexico will include appearances by Michael Bublé and J Balvin, respectively. So from the very first kick to the very last whistle, FIFA is surrounding the entire tournament with world-class entertainment at every single touchpoint. Katy Perry and Future at the opening. Shakira, Madonna, and BTS at the final. This is FIFA saying, we are not just the world's biggest sporting event. We are the world's biggest entertainment event, period. And think about what this does for the sport of soccer in the United States long term. This tournament is being played on American soil. It is being broadcast to American audiences. It is featuring American-friendly entertainment at every turn. The Super Bowl halftime show is one of the most watched television moments in the United States every single year. Millions of people who don't even care about football tune in just for the halftime show. Now imagine that same dynamic, but for the World Cup final. Imagine the millions of American casual viewers who might tune in just to watch Madonna perform, or just to see BTS live, and end up getting hooked on the greatest sport on earth in the process. This is smart, this is strategic, and it could be genuinely transformational for how Americans relate to soccer going forward. There is also something deeply poetic about this specific lineup when you think about it in terms of global representation. Shakira is from Colombia. She represents Latin America, a continent absolutely obsessed with football. Madonna is American. She represents the host nation, the country that is putting this World Cup on its biggest stage ever. And BTS is from South Korea. They represent Asia and the rest of the world, continents where football passion runs just as deep as anywhere else. 3 artists, 3 different parts of the world, 1 stage. If Chris Martin was trying to build a lineup that visually and symbolically represents the global nature of the World Cup, he absolutely nailed it. This is not an accident. This is curation at the highest possible level. And let us not forget that this is history being made in real time. This is the first halftime show in FIFA World Cup final history. Full stop. Every World Cup that comes after 2026 will be measured against this one. Every future halftime show will be compared to what happens on July 19th at MetLife Stadium. The artists who perform that day will be part of football history forever. Not just music history, not just entertainment history, but football history. Their names will be in the record books right alongside whoever lifts the trophy that afternoon. That is the magnitude of what we are talking about here. So let's recap everything one more time, nice and clean. For the first time ever in FIFA World Cup history, the final will feature a halftime show. It will be headlined by Shakira, Madonna, and BTS, curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin, and produced by Global Citizen. It will also feature the Muppets from Sesame Street and characters from The Muppets, part of the Walt Disney Company. The final takes place on July 19th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with a 3 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. $1 from every ticket sold to a World Cup 2026 match will go to the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, which is working to raise $100 million to expand access to quality education and football for children. This is history. This is massive. And we still have over 2 months until it actually happens. The question I want to leave you with is this. Are you excited about this lineup, or do you think FIFA could have made different choices? Because I know there are going to be people out there with strong opinions. Maybe you wanted to see a different artist. Maybe you think this lineup is absolutely perfect. Maybe you are wondering why a specific name was left off. Whatever you think, drop it in the comments right now. I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to know what you think. This is the kind of moment where the conversation is just as exciting as the announcement itself. And if you know somebody, a soccer fan, a music fan, a BTS ARMY member, a Madonna fan, anybody who needs to hear about this, share this video with them right now. Tap that share button, send it to your group chat, post it on your story, because this is the kind of news that everyone should be talking about. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it right now, because we are going to be covering every single update on the 2026 World Cup all the way through that July 19th final. And you are not going to want to miss a single moment of it. Stay locked in. This summer is going to be something we talk about for the rest of our lives.